Eugene Peterson has written in a message. Puts it in more current everyday language. And so here's the parable in Eugene's language. This one's called the story of the greedy farmer. In the other Bibles, in your Bibles, it's the rich young fool. Someone of the crowd said, "Teacher, order my brother to give me my fair share of the family inheritance." And he replied, "Mister, what makes you think that it's any of my business to be a judge or a mediator for you?" Speaking to the people, he went on, "Take care, protect yourself against the least bit of greed. Life is not defined by what you have, even if you have a lot." Then he told them this story. The farm of a certain rich man produced a terrific crop. He thought to himself, "What can I do? My barn isn't big enough for this harvest." And then he said, "Here's what I'll do. I'll tear down my barn and build bigger ones. I'll gather in my grain and goods. And I'll say to myself, see what you've done. You've made it. And now you can retire. Take it easy. Have the time of your life." And just then God showed up and said, "Fool, tonight you die. And the barn full of goods, who gets it?" That's what happens when you fill your barn with self and not with God. Let us pray. Gracious God, we come to you needing to be empty. We ask the Lord to empty us and then to fill us with your Spirit, with your grace, with your goodness, with the service to other people. We ask you, Lord, that as we meditate upon this, it would be upon your words, not mine, and that you would speak to us as we seek you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So, what's your barn filled with? Some of you have heard me say this before, I think, but we had a wise old professor in school that had all of these sayings. The things that I remember most about Pastor Leonard is the sayings that he had. And one of them was, what gets your attention gets you. And another way we can say that today is what fills your barn is what gets your attention gets you. I love barns. Like when I bicycle, I love to bicycle out in the country and just see the old farms and especially the old barns. And great memories for me is my grandfather's barn. We go out there oftentimes on the weekend. And I wonder if it would look as big to me now as it did when I was a kid. But it was a huge barn, a big barn, a fun place to be. And I will never forget the morning that we get this phone call. There had been a tornado the night before. And that tornado had simply picked that barn up and slammed it down. And a few hours later, when we came out to the farm, what we saw was not a barn, but a pile of kindling wood. It was reduced to that. In a moment's time, thankfully, no human beings, no livestock was hurt, wounded in any way. But it just reminded us of how temporary stuff is. How temporary stuff is. My sister and her husband live in a part of Colorado that you've heard about in the last few months. When the raging fires were coming, my brother-in-law built the home himself, and it was his lifelong dream home. And we would be hearing on the news that the fire was coming closer and closer and closer. And they were being told, get out, leave. We can't guarantee that you'll be well. And my sister was telling me a couple of weeks ago, you wouldn't believe the conversations that started as a couple about life, about relationship, about marriage, about God, about what's important. And all I'll tell you is they have 2 cars for 2 people. One car was packed and one wasn't. But my brother-in-law shared with me a couple of weeks ago, the miracle was, he said, in the high desert of southern Colorado, there's never an eastern wind. But at the right moment, as the fire was coming to their house, there was 4 days of an eastern wind. That finally, right as the fire was right at their doorstep, the fire had been taking out everything and pushed that fire back. Thank God for an Easter man. My brother-in-law has this great truck. I love trucks. Now, have you ever been able to have one? He has this great truck. It's a Chevy, not a Ford, but you know. And right now, even as I said that in that way, there's guys in this room that whose nut clenched a little bit because you're a Chevy man or you're a Ford man. You're either a Chevy or a Ford guy. Oh, and then there's some Dodges and there are some other pickups, I guess. It's a great, big, manly, beautiful truck. And it's new. And about a week and a half ago, he heard on the weather that there was going to be a storm that night with possibly hail in it. And so for safety, he pulled it into the barn. Well, which is a Quonset now. And then he was awakened by somebody from the power company in the middle of the night so that they could show him that there were flames coming out of both sides of that Quonset. And everything destroyed. The Quonset and everything in it. Again, thank God, no lives of animals or humans affected. And as I talked to Bob after it happened, I was amazed and blessed by how well he was doing. Because, after all, this is the coolest truck you've ever imagined. But there was grace for him, and he thinks it's going to be okay in the long run. Devastating for the family because it's a memory, and it's something that they, it's a part of the farm. Thankful that the rest of the farm didn't go up. It was struck by, it was an electrical fire and destroyed. And so, what's in your barn? What is it in your life that you're depending upon that could be gone in just a moment? I look at a text like this, and I have mixed feelings. The first feeling was like, oh, okay, well this is about a rich guy, so I'm just a poor church worker, So, oh, well, it would be easy to think that, except I'm a rich guy, and so are you. The poorest among us here this morning is wealthier than probably about 80% of the world. So no matter who we are the rich guy. We are the wealthy person. And it's not a sin to have wealth. It's not a sin to be wealthy. Abraham was wealthy, and there's other biblical characters that God blessed with wealth. But here's where the problem comes in. Is what is it in your life that's getting in the way of your relationship with God? And oftentimes it's very easy for possessions to do that, and other things as well. And so that's the question that comes up with this text. How important is it? You see, this guy in this text, it's all about I. I did this, and I did that, and I built it, and I'm going to build a bigger barn. You know what? If he was that big of a farmer, he didn't do it alone. There were people working for him. There were people planting. There were people harvesting. There were people building. But he did not see them for what he wanted and longed for in his life was all of this stuff. And it's I, me. It's about me, and it belongs to me. Not a sin to be wealthy, but it's when the wealth gets in the way of our service to God. What gets your attention gets you. And God has called us all to different stations in our life. And I'm glad that there are some people that are much more wealthy than I am. I'm especially glad for those people who know what to do with their wealth and how to use it. But I'm also really ministered to by people who remind me that I've been blessed with material things more than most people, and yet they know what it means to serve. Many years ago, Doris and I led a mission trip of some young people down to a community outside of Tijuana. And there was this wonderful, highlight of the trip, I think, for us adults as well as for the young people, was getting to know Lupe. Lupe was our cook. And she would come into this place where we were staying, this large group of kids, and she would cook our meals, but there was one day that she wasn't going to be able to make it in, so she invited us to her home. which was located in what we would call a dump. That was where the neighborhood was. And I have just a brief video showing you what that home was and what the hospitality was that Lupe shared with us that day. Got it up there? Here we are, in her home. Her home wasn't big enough to have, the 2 rooms that she had in the home wasn't big enough for anyone else to come into. Those chairs and those tables were from people all throughout the community. And there wasn't any 2 that matched. But Lupe, there she is, got them all together and cooked us a wonderful meal and showed us what hospitality is like. Now after that, we all went back to our very nice 2 and 3 and 4 bedroom homes and our paved driveways and everything else. Lupe, I didn't hear her complain, but what she did was she served us with joy. And you need to know, thank you folks for you people who help the youth here do these mission trips, because those kids on that mission trip are now, they're now doctors and social workers and conscientious businessmen and people who are making a difference in people's lives. Lupe made a difference in my life and in their life, showing me that it's not about the riches. Her barn was empty so that God could use it and so that God's Spirit could flow through it. So what's your barn filled with? What's got your attention today that's taking your attention away from God? Well, how about asking God to just open the doors of your barn today, clean it out, let His Spirit flow through it, and then let God's Spirit fill it again. Amen.